siding with Apple.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I think the economic viability of our tech sector, if you force them to degrade the quality of the technology that they make, that inherently puts most of our privacy and our personal data and our financial data at risk, I think that's bad for America.
Even though this is national security.
Yeah, I think national security is an issue for sure. It's an important issue. That's a point on a continuum. I think privacy and economic viability is a point on a continuum. You have to look at both of them.
Dagan, I know you're on the other side of this trade. Make the case.
I think that here's one of the issues, that telecom companies and traditional phone companies, they, under wiretapping laws, they have to make their data accessible to law enforcement agencies. They have to have equipment that's designed to comply with court orders. And Apple increasingly has equipment and phones that is designed so it never has to comply with a court order. Don't you think Tim Cook is asking Congress to step in and get in the middle of this? Don't they need to be afraid that Congress does something that maybe hurts their business and hurts their brand?
Well, at least at that point in time, the debate isn't a public scene with the congressional authorities. It's not played out through a judicial system like the way it is right now. So I think this is a debate that should be had. I think America and the rest of the world would like to see it. Unfortunately, I mean, the national security apparatus has a tremendous amount of authorities. Law enforcement has a tremendous amount of authorities and capabilities. It's unfortunate that the only way that they can deliver what they would define as success here is by creating a vulnerability in one of the most widespread technologies in the world.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that's the only avenue that is in front of us here. You'd hope there's other ways.
Jerry Baker from the Wall Street Journal is here today. Jerry, weigh in here.
I mean, but the point is, first of all, I don't believe that this will destroy, asking Apple to create this software that will enable to do this will destroy the U.S. tech sector. Everybody understands that there is a balance to be struck between privacy and national security, and it's up to, you know, it's up to the law court. Ultimately, it's up to the judges.
But
up to
a slippery slope, Jerry.
No, because the key thing here is that this is not, you know, what Tim Cook is saying is I understand again why he wants to protect privacy, and I think he's doing it for very good reasons. But what he's saying is not correct. This idea that if we do this, the government will just be able to open any phone that it wants at will. It can't do that. It has to get a judge's warrant. It has to get a warrant in order to do that. There's a very strong case here for them to open this case. Just as the technology exists for the government, if it wanted to bash down your door and walk in and take anything it wanted to, okay? It's called an axe and a hammer. It could just walk in and do that. But it can't do that legally because of the Constitution, because of the protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. The government cannot conduct unreasonable searches and seizures. It has to get a warrant. It has to make its case. It has to go through due process, and it has to demonstrate probable cause. So it will have to do all of those things. It's an incredibly high bar, and this idea that the government can just march in and take over everything in your house or on your phone is not correct.
What about that, John?
Yeah, I don't think the issue here is what the government can and can't do. I think the issue is what the threat actors around the world can do. If you create a vulnerability in a core technology product, other people will figure out a way to exploit that vulnerability.
Like China.
That's correct. Or other criminals around the world.
But they're exploiting the fact that they can hide within the phones. That's the concern on the other side, that criminals are cheering the fact that the FBI, potentially in law enforcement, will not be able to get into these phones ever based on what the design plans that Apple has.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of moving parts here. I mean, the clear ability to secure communications and all of the business capabilities that are enabled through a phone, there's real economic requirement to do that. By the flip side, it's not the only requirement. The notion of law enforcement being able to gain access legally to information is also viable. I think there's a balance here, but you don't. To me, it's really hard to swallow that the only mechanism that we'd have through our law enforcement intelligence community is to crack a phone.
It's true. It's actually extraordinary. You're right. I mean, it's unbelievable that Apple is the only one who can do this.
And Tim Cook called the software equivalent the government wants a cancer. I think that was a bridge too far. But again, is he going to win over more fanboys and fangirls with that interview he did?
Yeah.
Who knows?
John, thank you. Thanks so much for your insights. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon, sir.
You're welcome, Maria.
John Waters.
Take care.